I like this. I like this for the Florida Panthers just because they're just they're just a bunch of jerks. They're just a bunch of jerks. But I mean, really, like to me, this is a good pickup. To me, it's kind of a heartwarming story. I think it's more that Buffalo is saying, "Hey, Cap, you earned this. You've been around here for so long. You've been such a loyal soldier to us." And so for me, like I just think that they're like, hey, well, and also he said he only place he really wanted to go to was gonna be Florida. So that kind of makes sense in this case. That he's like, oh, like I want to go to Florida. So if you look at Kyle Okposo and the player that he was drafted by the New York Islanders. And they liked him. By the way, the Buffalo Sabres signed him, and he was considered one of the worst contracts at one point ever. Like one of the worst contracts, just was not performing well. And so at $6 million, they're like, oh man, he didn't look good, but you couldn't move him because he had a modified no trade clause of 15 teams, so couldn't do much of them. And he was like your captain, so so they ended up re-signing him, keeping him around for $2.5 million. Again, just didn't perform amazingly for the amount of money that he was making. Even towards the end, you could see 13 points, 35 games. Looks like he suffered with some injury as well. And again, just didn't perform, unfortunately. In the past season, 22 points, 61 games. Again, he just wanted to go play with Florida and go play with Florida. Why not? It's warm, and the taxes don't help as well. Especially at 35 years old, get an opportunity to go try and win a Stanley Cup because you didn't do it with the Islanders, and you didn't do it with Buffalo Sabres. So go out there and they did right by him, right? Which is why the trade is so meh, I'd say. I mean, it's meh on the Buffalo side. We're like, hey, we want at least something, right? So they sent over Kelly Sangel. He's an AHLer. He's not doing much. His contract's done at the end of the year. It's probably just money. Hey, take this so you can get some money back. It's not very expensive. So 3 points in 22 games in the AHL. I don't know if he'll stay there or if he'll go to the AHL. I think it's the Rochester Admirals for the Buffalo Sabres, I believe, for their AHL team. Before them, they just get a seven round pick, and then if the Florida wins the Stanley Cup, it goes to a 5th round pick. And honestly, Florida won't care if they'll give up a 5th round pick if they win the Stanley Cup. Why not? It's worth it. So again, look at the stack lineup. I mean, Verhaeghe's having a monster season. Bennett, of course, is rough in the sense he's a very good player. You have Tkachuk, Lusterinen, Anton Lundell. Oh, I completely skipped the first line. Picking up Tarasenko in a great trade that they just robbed from the Senators, but it was the Senators' fault for giving him a no trade clause. So your fault. Alexander Barkov, right? Sam Reinhart, and by the way, this is your second line with Verhaeghe, Bennett, and Tkachuk. Ugh, that's nuts. Anton Lundell, Rodriguez, and Lusterinen doing phenomenal. Great line, great shutdown line. You have Cousins, Stenlin, and Okposo, just big, meaty guys. How big is Okposo, by the way? I see 6 foot, but 215. I'm 225, and I'm 5'10", dude. He would kick my butt. But again, I like that as for them. And here's the pickup. I mean, he's really a shutdown defenseman, so a veteran defensive bottom winger. And I mean, just shutting people down in defense. I love that. Good for them. Again, it's just a nice, easy pickup. Not a big deal. Not a huge, just a nice little pickup for the Florida Panthers who don't need it, by the way. But you're doing right with a player, and I like when people do right with a player, especially when they're later in their career. Younger players, I have less sympathy. If you're a 23-year-old and you want to you're like, I want to go to Winnipeg. I don't know, you want to go somewhere that's but you're 35. You run out of time in the NHL. It might be his last year in the NHL. Let him go get a cup, man. Hey. Oh, Captain, my captain. Love you. Hit like, subscribe. Let me know if you want to see what other videos you want to see. And catch you soon.